they've constructed an artificial construct. And in this artificial construct, if you agree with it and succumb to living under this type of construct, this ideology, this way of living, you will be controlled and manipulated by it until you unplug from it. And chances are you won't unplug from it. Because once you get plugged into this system, it fills you with a myriad, an endless supply of false gratification signals and emotions, and it traps you in a web of deceit. You know, if you live here in the Matrix, you're living in pleasure world. This is the land of stimulation. And too much stimulation, let me tell you, it accelerates the aging process, destroys the body. We eat way too much here in this Matrix. We eat according to the food pyramid. And the food pyramid, let me tell you, was designed to enslave you. The food pyramid is one of the most ingenious tools of controlling consciousness by manipulating people's views on what they should eat. So at a young age in school, they begin teaching you this stuff while you're still in the growth process, so that as you grow and learn each consecutive grade of school, as you go through each consecutive grade of school, go through 1st to 5th grade and graduate and going up, you go through all these tiers of control. These are control degrees. And as you move up them, you learn more and more and more about things like the food pyramid and all this other bullshit. And the way that the school system works is it gives you a ring, or it gives you a layer of programming, and then you move from, say, kindergarten on up, and then the next grade's programming builds off the last grade of programming. So as you work up this ladder of programming, by the time you get to high school and you graduate and you're ready to go to college, your programming is pretty much complete. And that's what the cap represents. I will make a video on elaborating upon that further in the future. But again, getting back to the core of this message, we are overeating here in this Matrix. The food pyramid has taught you that you need 3 meals a day of cooked, denatured, chemically manipulated, genetically modified foods, all in the wrong ratios, all in the wrong everything. We were not meant to be eating 3 meals a day, I hate to tell you. We were actually designed to fast for either periodic fasting or long, prolonged periods. And that's what our ancestors did. Hunter-gatherers. They weren't eating 3 solid cooked meals a day, no. They were out in the field. They had to hunt their game. They were actually working with nature. They were living off the land. They weren't buying food from supermarkets like we do in here in this synthetic matrix. So as you go through the education system and you get programmed with their fake nutritional programming, by the time you leave high school, you're most likely going to never question that programming, and you're going to live according to that kind of food pyramid logic, the standard American logic of I need excessive meats and pastas and breads and dead foods, and people aren't getting anywhere near the amount of chlorophyll that they need, or the vitamins, the B vitamins that they need from these foods. The vegetables that people are eating are manipulated and chemically altered, and there's all sorts of different alterations that have happened to the foods out here that are available for purchase. And it really is not easy to find real food. It really isn't. So in a sense, if you really want to get serious about health, you're going to have to get selfish and begin relying on yourself to start generating these foods. You need to start growing your own foods, getting your hands in the soil. Because let me tell you, the store and the foods in the store are not going to give your body what it needs to remain healthy, happy, and energetic. That's why many vegans fuck up and they can't remain vegans. They're not eating the proper foods. They're not getting enough protein. They're eating too much. Many vegans eat way too much. Many vegans think that because they're vegans, that all the food that they're eating is healthy, and they think that they can just stuff as much food down their throat as they can. No. That's what I see a lot of these high-carb people here on YouTube doing, just eating way too much food. You need to look at the rat studies and the mice studies on caloric restriction and how just minor adjustments to the amount of food that mice were getting fed in these studies when these people doing these studies on these rats took away food from certain groups of these rats, these rats lived 2 to 3 times longer than the other rats. Mice, I mean, there's been so many studies done on the efficacy of caloric restriction and the efficacy of fasting. Without fasting, in my opinion, your body really isn't going to be able to heal. Your body has to undertake an entire healing process before you can even begin to assimilate nutrients in things like spirulina and camu and these different herbs, etc. So until we fast, until we heal, until our internal environment can kind of shed itself and renew itself so that we can assimilate foods, once we need to get rid of these poisons and toxicities and heavy metals that are burdening our physiology. Because right now, the average person, they can't even absorb nutrients from food, from these raw foods, etc. And they're eating way too much of them. So they're eating way too much foods, and they're only getting a small fraction of the nutrition that they're meant to be getting because they can't absorb it, or their parasites are getting a hold of it. There's just so many different somatic abominations that are currently bogging down and manipulating the average person's life here in this matrix that it's just, you can't, even if you do have real food, good luck digesting it. Food, the quality of food is only as good as the quality of digestion that your body can fortify and create, the digestive fire. Again, your body, the quality of food that you put in your system is completely dependent on how well you can digest it. Because if you can't even digest it and it gets backed up, even those health foods become poisons, is what I'm getting at. So the more I learn, the more I research, and the more I do my own experiments on myself, the more I realize that caloric restriction is the way of true healing and lifespan and longevity. Caloric restriction is the way to kickstart and activate and stimulate the youthing gene within us. So there's just so much research. There's been so many books put out on the efficacy of caloric restriction, and let me tell you, there are some prime examples of people in the past who have eaten once or only twice a day in very small amounts, and you should see how long these people have lived. I'm going to make a video on that in the near future. I have a book I need to cite the information from. I don't have it with me. But, I mean, to each his own. Again, if you grew up in this system, this information that I'm telling you about right now is probably going to sound completely extreme and just totally out there. And that's alright, because it is what it is. People have free will. If you want to believe in the food pyramid logic, then go for it. All I'm asking you to do is do a little bit more research, because let me tell you, 99% of the people who are suffering from pathologies and ailments and sicknesses and different disturbances, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, astrally, etc., these people are people who are living on kind of the standard American food pyramid logic. Meat, pasta, some grains, some beans, some MPK, fruits and vegetables, some GMO here and there, some bunk vitamins, etc. Bunk mineral supplements. It's insane. It's insane how many of the foods at health food stores aren't even healthy, and they're sold as health foods. It's incredible how many chemical derivatives and different synthetic byproducts and toxic elements like gelatin and all this other stuff. It's incredible how much of this garbage is in these health foods at these health food stores. So unless you know how to read labels, unless you do research and look at what these ingredients are on the back of these health foods, chances are you may or may not think that they're just healthy because it's sold at a health food store and it has a pretty little label on it with a flower of life. It must be healthy. See, that's the type of trickery that we can't allow ourselves to succumb to. If that's what it comes to, we're fucked. Ooh, it looks good on the outside. It must be nice. It must be sweet on the inside. That type of logic. Many people don't know that oftentimes very evil things are hidden behind soft, gentle, non-threatening, lovey-dovey fucking love and light bullshit type of fucking propaganda. And you see that in massive abundance out here in the Matrix right now. The New Age movement, the spiritual movement, the golden, or what they called it, they call it the golden age. The golden age. This is not a golden age, people. There used to be a firmament of stars that were visible and communicatable by the humans, the shamans that lived here on this planet. People used to be able to communicate with the Christ grid around the planet and tap into the power of the collective consciousness. And we've just fallen so far, people. It's insane. Again, there used to be a firmament of stars that were visible. We used to be able to communicate with what was above us, the ocean of life above us. But we've been manipulated. You cannot see hardly any stars out here anymore, at least here in California. Even when I go to places like Tahoe, or even when I go to places where stargazing is considered pristine, it's not. There are so many things that are above us that are being shade-clothed from us that we can't see. It would blow your mind. Not to mention all the ET ships and all the different lights that they're blocking us from being able to see. There's a black ring of smoke around the fucking earth, people. The golden age. Maybe after the age of cleansing we can have the golden age, but many people think we're just going to go from hell to heaven overnight. It's wham bam thank you Sam. Not knowing that in order for us to experience a golden age, we're going to have to first do what it takes to create a golden age. We can't just wait around here in hell while wars going on everywhere, people being cheated, bamboozled, hoodwinked, murdered, killed, set up. We can't just allow all this bullshit to go on with the environment and all this crazy shit going on with the degradation of the rainforests and all this other shit. We can't keep allowing this stuff to go on and just think that this earth's just gonna like shed its skin and one day, ooh, it's heaven, bro. All the pollution's gone, bro. Where'd all the bad people go? We've got to get out of this powerless consciousness and begin taking our power back. So many people have so much information that they can use to help other people help themselves, but many people don't maximize their time and create a YouTube channel. If you have information that you believe can help other people, if you have information that's helped yourself, why not share that information with other people is what I'm getting at. It takes only your time and a little bit of your... Excuse me. All it takes is some time and effort on your part to make a YouTube channel and, an initial investment of a camera.